Which propaganda effort was so successful, people still believe it today? That teeth are supposed to be perfectly white. People should know that a healthy set of teeth does not mean they are perfectly white. Super white teeth are not even normal. Our enamel will slowly become more translucent as we age, revealing the color of the dentin, which is yellow, underneath it. That's why as we get older, our teeth will become yellower. Does not mean they are not healthy or unclean. I see teeth whitening similar to other anti-aging measures. It does not make you healthier, but it does make you look younger. This is one of the biggest scams by dental care companies, I believe. They must be making a fortune selling whitening toothpaste, which really does not do anything different from other toothpaste. Many Korean people believe that fens can cause death. Even my mother, who moved to America in her mid-teens, still prohibits me from leaving a fen on overnight for fear of death. There is a conspiracy theory that the South Korean government spread this myth as propaganda to prevent energy overusage, but its origins are unknown. It's strange that many Koreans believe this myth considering it is one of the most technologically advanced countries. I have heard also that some suicides are covered up by the police reporting that a fen was left on and blaming it on that publicly at least. Not sure how true that is. Carrots make your vision better. This rumor was started in Second World War to hide the invention of radar. The public was told that Allied pilots found the German bombers during the Blitz because they had good eyesight because they ate their carrots. But in reality it was that the British had an early radar system in place that they did not want the Germans to find out about and bomb. To be fair, a vitamin A deficiency will cause vision problems, and carrots are a good source of vitamin A. I think this propaganda was partially built on the pseudoscience that an overdose of vitamins provides superhuman abilities. That Napoleon Bonaparte was short. He was 5 feet and 7 inches tall, which might be a little bit on the shorter side by modern standards, but it was around the average height for people back then. The idea that he was short actually came from a British propaganda campaign to mock him. That big curvy line of toothpaste with the Dairy Queen curl we have seen in every toothpaste ad. You don't need more than a pea-sized smear of paste on your brush. Columbus was the only person who believed the world was round. Literally everyone who could read knew that the earth was round. Nobody thought Columbus would fall off the edge. They thought his crew would starve to death before reaching the East Indies. And he totally would have. Diamonds is a symbol of eternal love. Every kiss begins with slaves. Also the belief that diamonds are rare, when in reality it's because they are artificially scarce. Apparently in the 80s KFC ran a Christmas themed ad in Japan, and to this day the Japanese eat KFC on Christmas. When I was in Japan on Christmas, I won some dumb quiz at a party and they gave me fried chicken, because they believed that was our traditional Christmas food. It was ridiculous and it is one of those really odd memories of mine. That if you ask if someone is a cop, if they are a cop they legally are required to say yes they are. Of course they are not required to. That defeats the entire purpose of working undercover. I saw a documentary recently about a former undercover cop in the UK. Apparently he once got in a car and had a gun pulled on him. They asked, "Are you a cop?" He said, "Yes, of course I am." They all bust out laughing and he kept his cover. When Edward Bernays, the father of public relations, literally renamed propaganda that we want people to think is not bad to public relations and advertising, and he literally admitted it in a book he made called Propaganda. Propaganda is, quite literally, just media that is attempting to persuade you. It might be honest or dishonest, but, no matter what, it is still propaganda. That touching a baby bird will make its mother reject it. Lies. Put the baby back in the nest if you can. That the old woman who sued McDonald's over burning herself with her coffee was just money hungry. For clarity, an elderly woman was a passenger in a car, pulled over in the lot to add sugar after getting a coffee and it spilled all over her lap. It burned her really bad and she just set out to get McDonald's to pay her hospital bills. BC they served the coffee way too hot. They ended up launching this whole PR campaign where they smeared this poor lady, even taking out spots in local papers over how silly and money hungry she was. Comedians, musicians, and radio hosts made fun of her and made her out to be money hungry instead of a victim. Knuckle cracking gives you arthritis. If it did, I would make a living being the overly dramatic old white person in infomercials that can't pick up a bottle. And I am only 31. The myth that Spartans threw unhealthy babies off mountains. This was Athenian propaganda. That fat is unhealthy, the nutrient that is not actually being fat. Fat is a necessary part of any diet. Eliminating it completely will never be healthy. Absinthe makes you hallucinate was propaganda, because it was hurting the wine industry. MSG will kill you and is horrible to ingest. I am allergic to MSG. Really, it is delicious and your body produces it naturally while breaking down regular salt. Some people do have sodium issues and it may not be good for them, but that's a tiny micro percentage of people. People still believe dogs don't see in color, when in fact they do. They see less of it than humans do, but they most definitely see in color. Camels don't store water in their humps, they store fat in their humps. Autism and vaccines. The original guy wanted to advertise his own vaccine, but did not disclose this. When he published a hit piece on the mainstream vaccine at the time, in a reputable journal, his alternative vaccine failed. His paper was bashed and ultimately retracted, yet people smart enough to work at Google don't vaccinate their kids. The war on drugs. Prematurely illegalized drugs we didn't understand, and hadn't had the chance to do a lot of research on. Psychedelics and weed, mainly, and created a black hole of misinformation and mistrust by the public, as well as removed funding for drugs that now, thanks to private funding, we are realizing can have hugely positive effects when dealing with mental health. That a man should spend a month's salary for his future wife's wedding ring, which absolutely must be a diamond. Screw that. I spent a total of $150 for my wife's ring, and she fucking loves it, and it's a sapphire. Diamonds are no more precious than any other precious gem, and manufactured gems are way easier to come by, are more perfect, and so much cheaper. As long as it's an actual ruby, sapphire, emerald, etc. It will be just as good as one dug out of the ground. Fake ones are good for a teen gift or just friends kind of gift, but they will shatter pretty easy compared to the real thing. That you only use 10% of your brain, in reality, you use pretty much all your brain capacity, so neuroscience has proven quite thoroughly. Nestle done a smear campaign saying formula feeding is best. They mainly done it in third world countries. Nestle owns a majority of formula companies, so they got rich and uneducated third world counties suffered as they would rather use this healthier option, but made it with dirty water, meaning children died, which was not needed as most have no issue making breast milk. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and that cereal, toast, sugary things are part of a balanced breakfast. Know plenty of people who function perfectly without eating anything for breakfast. If you masturbate, you will go blind. Drinking fountains are unhealthy. The bottled beverage industry commissioned and publicized a series of studies in the early 1990s when they decided to get into the bottled water business. The problem was that their largest competitor was free and available in schools, parks, and public buildings everywhere. Anyone who took even a semester of biology knows that if you walk around and swab and culture anything, you will find that it's covered in bacteria. That's ecology on planet Earth. That a four-year college education is the only way you will succeed in life. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the ocean floor. In truth, this was a technically true but misleading factoid made up by someone in the US Navy who was tired of the Apollo program getting so much money and wanted a piece of the action. It was so successful that I have never been able to find the name of the official. Now almost every time someone's talking about how mysterious and unknown the deep ocean is, we get this old glitch. That the US was founded as a Christian country, most of the founding fathers were deists. Just read Thomas Paine's The Age of Reason to see what he thought of Christianity. The First Amendment does not exist just for the sake of Christians. The United States is a democracy. That you are responsible for global warming and littering, dumping, not the giant companies with billions of dollars to cover up their crimes. I am sorry, my friends, your efforts to prevent climate change affect almost nothing. Imagine filling all the oceans with pennies. The efforts you make in your lifetime to fix our environment is like removing a single penny from all those pennies in the ocean. But if the government regulated giant companies like BP, Pfizer, and ExxonMobil, we could remove every single penny from something like the Pacific Ocean. I don't see it here yet, but milk. The Got Milk campaign really made it so people in the US started drinking it more, even though it's not good for us. Many people still claim that the US Civil War was about states' rights. It was about slavery. The Articles of Secession for South Carolina mention the word slavery over 20 times. It was definitely about slavery. Communism could be the fall of Western civilization and capitalism would save the world. Worked out pretty good for all the rich white dudes who created the propaganda, though. In 47 of the 50 states, your tax dollars do not go towards unemployment, and yet that myth persists. Barack Obama is not a war criminal who targeted American children. His crimes are well documented by Amnesty International, the ACLU, and WikiLeaks. But people are so angry when anyone contradicts the propaganda, this post will be 100% downvoted. The military protects your freedoms. That Mexicans are why you can't find good work. Gamers hate women and minorities. They don't. They hate everyone regardless of gender or race. Thanks for watching. Share your story in the comment.